And today I want to talk about the Christian worldview concerning work. I haven't talked about this topic on YouTube in years. I would probably say in about 6 years, maybe 7 years. I haven't talked about this one in a while, but I'm going to talk about it today. I haven't made any videos on this channel in a while, and I want to do it today. So again, today we're going to talk about the Christian worldview and work, and we're also going to be talking about laziness too. Um, so first and foremost, the Bible is not quiet on this topic of people who have a work ethic and people who are lazy. Um, the Bible says that some people are so lazy that they won't even pick up a fork to put the food on the fork to put it in their mouth. That's how lazy some people are now. I don't know if that's metaphor, that's symbolic or whatever, but because I've never met nobody that lazy before. But I have seen some sluggish people out there that don't want to really do anything. And I've seen people work so hard that they work themselves into a heart attack. Okay, so obviously there has to be a balance. So let's go into what the Christian worldview is about this. Okay, real quick. First and foremost, let's deal with work. When a person works, a person has a certain form of independence and a certain level of good pride that they can look at themselves in the mirror and realize that when they when they get up and they do their 9 to 5 or when they do their business or whatever, that that what they have in their home they have because they went to work, they got a paycheck, and they was able to pay for everything that they had. They got off their behind and they actually did that. There's a certain level of pride that you get from that. There's a certain level of a certain level of let's just use the word pride, good pride anyway, that a person has when they get up and they take care of business and they go to work. Whether you're a construction worker, whether you're working in an office, whether you're working at home, whether you're into real estate, whether you're into anything, working is a beautiful thing because when you go to work, you can be rewarded with it. You know, a lot of us today, and I know back in the day, people refer to their money as bread because when you got paid, that money was literally used to buy food for your family. You know, even today, every now and then I will say, I got to go out there and make my bread because I got to eat. And if I'm going to eat, I got to be able to go out there and work. The Bible says that if a man doesn't work, he should not eat. You know what I mean? So, and the Apostle Paul said that for, a few different reasons. But the reason that I want to get to with this is just talking about the positivity of just getting off your behind and actually doing something with yourself and trying to change your situation, pay your bills, pay old debts, and do what you got to do. There's a lot of beautiful things at work. As a matter of fact, there's an old story that's used. I know in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs, it talks about look at the ant, how they go about, storing their food, and then they have food during the winter. But when I was a kid, they must have stole this from the Bible because they were talking about the ant and the grasshopper. And what the ant did all summer is that they gathered food and they put their food into a storehouse that they created underground or whatever. It's like they would store their food with, I don't know how they go about regurgitating it or whatever, but they store their food. That way when the weather gets cold, they'll be able to eat their food. Whatever. The grasshopper, however, was the type that sat on his behind all day, did nothing, and then when the weather got cold, because he played all summer, chilled with his friends all summer. I'm paraphrasing and stuff, okay? But he was chilling out there with his friends and everything and whatnot. And when the time of cold came, he had nothing to eat, and he had to go to the ant. He had to go to the ant in order to eat. If you're the kind of person that always wants to play and feel good all the time and 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 never want to suffer a little bit, you're never going to have anything in the time of need. In the Bible, it talks about the days of Joseph, where God predicted that there would be 7 years of prosperity and 7 years of famine. 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. What did Joseph do during that time? Joseph stored away his food for the 7 years of hard times that would come in. People had to bring their stuff and they had to sell it in order for them to get grain so that they can eat. Because These people didn't have enough foresight to be able to see the times that they were living in. Joseph had an advantage, yes, because God himself told him that there would be a famine. And God had a big plan about getting Israel to come to the land of Goshen and everything and whatnot. But we're not talking about that right now. We're just going into how Joseph prepared himself for the times that was coming. You know what I mean? And just because you have a lot that particular day doesn't mean that a time won't come when you will lose everything and that you might have to work and get it back. You have to prepare for things like that. You have to prepare for things like that. In order to do that, you gotta work. You gotta work at doing something. You know, when I was a young kid, like I said, for those of you who don't know, I didn't grow up with money in my pocket. I grew up poor. I used to be the kind of person that went out there and begged for money. I was outside saying, can you spare a quarter? Can you spare a quarter? I had to do that to eat sometimes. I had to, I was eating mustard sandwiches. I think I said that on the other channel at one time. I was eating mayonnaise sandwiches. I didn't have no money when I was growing up. You know what I mean? I was lucky if I had a decent Christmas a lot of times. A lot of times churches, and I was not a Christian at this time. I was, my dad was a Muslim. My mother was a professing Christian and never went to church. But the churches used to come to our house and they used to give us toys. That's the only reason I ever had like a He-Man, or I had like I think that the toy was called Monchalock or whatever. But they used to bring, you know, the toys over to the you know, to our roach-ridden apartment. And like I said, I ain't grow up with anything. But when I wanted money, you know what I did? When I wanted money, my mom didn't have it, my aunt didn't have it, my uncle didn't have it, my cousins didn't have it. I had to go to the grocery store and I had to bag bags. They had a store in Jersey City called Food Town at the time. And I used to go all the way down to what we used to call the white people section. I got some stories about that. Because I'm talking about like in the early 80s. It was like in 85, 86. And we used to have Jackson Avenue, for those of you who live in Jersey City. Jackson Avenue and going into Bergen and going into Garfield Avenue was the black people section. You started getting into like the mixed part when you got into Kennedy Boulevard, going into West Side Avenue and going into Marion Avenue or whatever. But we used to call it the black people section and the white people section. So when you went down there, we knew when we went down there and we bagged bags, we was going to make money. And back then I used to make like $7, $8 a day because I would get like a quarter tip. And back then a quarter was a lot because you can get 25 penny candies, you can get like a bag of, you can play a video game. Sometimes you get a bag of potato chips and get candy. You'd be surprised what you can do with a quarter back then. But I had to work, man. I had to get out my behind so I can eat. I went out there and I bagged bags. And if that didn't work, like I said, I would go out there and I would say, can you spare a quarter just so I can have money to go see a movie or to be able to eat or whatever. I remember to see the movie Once Bitten. I had to go outside and do that. To see the movie Once Bitten. Hey, can you spare a quarter? Can you spare a quarter? Because we were poor. You know what I mean? One day I really got to talk about this because I hate talking about this, especially on YouTube with these trolls watching me and everything. But anyway, trying to get my thoughts together. The point of the matter is I got out my behind and I did things. I would, you know, go to my family and say, listen, is there a chore I can do for you so that I can get money in my pocket to be able to do what I got to do? And you know, it feels good, even if you only make $1. Even if you only make $1, it feels good because you went out there and you earned this money. Nobody can say they gave you anything. You earned it. Okay, now into my teenage years, when I didn't have any money, I would take things that I had, like I would probably say like my Nintendo entertainment system. As a matter of fact, I never really owned a Nintendo until I turned 17 or 18. And Nintendo's been around since I was right before high school. My first system was a ColecoVision. But anyway, I'm going off on a rant. But I would take my systems and I would sell them to get money. They had Funko Land, they had like these other places, and I would sell my stuff to be able to have money for my pockets. And it felt good. This is what I had to do. I had to get off my butt. I had to take my system. I had to go to the store and I had to sell it. And I had money that was mine that nobody could say that they gave me. Nobody in my family ever promoted or rewarded anybody for being lazy. And I wasn't even a Christian back then. And I understood this. Laziness brings people disrespecting you. Laziness will bring people looking down on you. Laziness will bring people spitting on you. Laziness will bring people not pitying you. And when they do pity you, the stuff that they'll say to you will absolutely obliterate what little pride you have left in your life, or what kind of dignity you have. Okay? When I train for a marathon, let me tell you something. Nobody calls me up, hey, you got to get up and you got to know. I have to get out the bed. I have to stop listening to these voices in my head that's telling me to go back to sleep. I have to put on my running shoes. I have to put on my pants. I have to put on my shirt. I got to eat a banana or some type of fruit or whatever. And then I have to prepare to go out there and run. Then I have to come back and I have to stretch. And then I have to get ready to go to work or do my thing or whatever. And this was a daily thing. Now I do it every other day now. Right? And I have to go to the gym and strengthen my legs. I have to mentally prepare myself for what I'm going to go do. Then I have this responsibility of this house that I have. Then I have my apartment that I have. Then I have this and I have that and I have this and I have that. And if I don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. So where I come from, there's a certain level of pride that comes in when you know that you're going to get off your behind and go work for what you got. Now, notice this. I'm not talking about God's grace yet. We're going to get to that later because, like I said, this is the Christian worldview. But we should be people that get off our behinds and work. There has to come a time where enough is enough, man, where we're like, you want to know what? I am getting sick and I am getting tired of having to whore myself out there to get money. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to go out there. I don't care if it's $5. I'm going to go out there and try to earn it some way. I'm going to try to go out there and I'm going to try to earn it. Let me tell you something. My channel is where it is because of laziness. My channel, this Faithful to God, this Faithful to God, Not Man channel that I got here, a sowing and reaping channel that I got here, is in the condition that it's in because I don't upload videos in it. Nobody should pity me. Nobody should feel sorry for me. I don't consistently make content. I don't invite guests on here. I don't do all of that stuff. And if I want my channel to grow, I have to actually get off my behind and do those things. There are other channels out there that are prospering and growing and doing well because they take care of the content they put on their YouTube channel. They invite people on there and they talk about stuff that people actually they go out there and they try to take care of the people that come to their channels. You know what I mean? But if I want this channel to grow, I have to put time and effort into it. I have to work. My G-Man channel only grew because I said a couple of things on YouTube that some people didn't like. They never left me alone since then, which I'm happy they didn't because I participated in something wonderful called The Great Debate. And I was doing G-Man versus the Worlds, and people was like, I don't think G-Man understands, you know, the impact his hangouts are having on people and whatnot. And I kept doing it, 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 and the channel kept growing, the channel kept growing, the channel kept growing. Nothing fake, nothing artificial, nothing like that. Just kept growing and kept growing and kept growing. Work. Okay? I don't support drug selling or drug dealers. I don't support them people. Okay? I don't support people going out there robbing banks and all that other stuff. But you got to give the devil his due. At least they're getting off their behinds and they're actually trying something. Now, I don't recommend you do that because in the Christian worldview, that is considered sin. But at least nobody will ever call those people lazy. You got to get up and you got to try to do something to change your circumstances in your situation. Okay? If you want your rent to be paid, go to work. And if you want your electric bill to be paid, go to work. You want to be a blessing to other people financially, go to work. Lazy people are only contributing to the degradation. No, not the degradation. That's a terrible word. The destruction of this little world that we live in. They're not contributing anything. Yet they want everything given to them. And that's not how the world works. Okay, sometimes I got to work 12 hours and I get on here with my little red eyes, everybody making jokes, talking about something, I'm doing drugs and all this other garbage and whatnot. I have to bust my rear end to be able to take care of the things that I have in my life, the responsibilities I have in my life. And I don't do it so that people can go, hey, good job, G-Man, good job. I don't do it for that. I do that so I can be able to provide for myself because I know what it's like not to have nothing. I understand that all too well. So the Christian worldview, I guess what I'm trying to say regarding all this is that we are a people, the people who are serious about Jesus Christ. We are people that want to work. Let me say this again. We are people that believe in work. We don't sit down and make a bunch of excuses all the time. We get off our behinds and we work. You want respect? Go to work. You want to have some money in your pocket? Go to work. This is what we're supposed to do. Now, what happens if the system is oppressing you and preventing you from working? And this is where I got to get to the grace of God. If the system is oppressing you and preventing you from being able to work, what you do is you pray and you ask for God's grace and you ask him to give you what the world won't give you. And then when he gives it to you, you try to do something with it. That's where you can start a business. You can be a construction worker. You could be a person that goes out there and paint houses. Did you know that you can make $300 minimum just for painting one room? For painting one room, you can make $300 for painting one room. Imagine if you painted the whole place. A minimum of $900 to $1,000 depending on who you're working for and how many coats you're going to put on the wall. That's just painting. We're not talking about the carpentry stuff, about building a deck for somebody or doing roof repairs or painting the outside of somebody's house. Somebody mentioned 2 coats of paint. No, sometimes it's not some people want you to put as much paint on there as possible so that they're happy with what they have and they don't care. They'll pay you because they want what they want. You don't argue with them. You just do it as long as they pay you when the job is done. You got to do what you got to do. You know, I have a bad back. You know what I mean? My landlord don't want to hear that I don't have no rent because I didn't feel like bending down to pick nothing up. My landlord don't want to hear that garbage. I have to bend down and have to pick things up. If it means I got to get surgery or if I got to get a back brace or whatever, I got to bend down and pick up what I got to pick up. And I think as a people, and when I say as a people, let me be clear because the Hebrew Israelites might actually watch this. And I want to make sure that everybody, when I say people, I'm talking about everybody, not just black, everybody. As human beings, I'll put it to you that way. As human beings, God put us here to work. He did not put us here to sit on our behinds all day and do nothing. There's a certain expectation of work that we human beings have with each other. See, as a human being, I don't mind helping people. I don't mind going in my pocket and trying to supplement and help people do what they're trying to do for themselves. I don't mind doing that because some people can't help themselves. Sometimes you literally just have to help people that have no ability to help themselves whatsoever. But man, if you can see them walk, you can see them talk, you see them have talent and skills and whatnot, and they're not trying to use it, they're not trying to do anything to better themselves. Let me tell you something. One of the biggest lies that I see going around today is that, you know, and I want people to hear me on this. I believe that we need to make a living wage. Don't get me wrong, all right? Chill out, relax. I understand that we need to make a living wage. But listen to me on this one, and only a little bit of you are going to get this. It's not about what you make. It's not if you make $20, $30, $40, $50 an hour. That is not what matters. What matters is how much of that $20, $30, $40, $50 an hour you actually save. And that's my thing. If money has hit your hand and you're in a situation where you need where you need a large sum of money, you should always be trying to save your money. If you are not trying to save your money, what are you doing? Why are you getting up and going to work? Let me tell you something. I know people, and I happen to be one of them. I know people that make anywhere between $7 and $17 an hour, or $20 an hour, or whatever. I'm somewhere within that thing between $7 and $20 an hour or whatever. And they don't make anywhere near the money that you see these truckers are making. They're making $30 an hour. Some of these people are making $2,000 or $3,000 every week, and they don't got a dime to their name. They're coming to me to borrow money. They're coming to me. They're coming to me to borrow money from me. Because I'm smart enough to say, you want to know what, I made 20, let me put 10 to the side. I made 50, let me put 15 to the side. But this person that's making $3,000 to $4,000 a week, because they choose to live above their means, don't got a dime to their name. It's not about what you make, dude. It's about what you do with your money when you get paid. Remember that moving forward in your life. If you ever decide to become a Christian, please understand that if you come into the Christian, if you come into the household of faith, getting this out of my way because I'm stop doing that. Don't leave it and do nothing to me. But if you come into the household of faith, please understand we expect you to work. No, nobody's coming in there and trying to encourage you to sit on your behind and do nothing. You're gonna claim to be a Christian, get off your behind and get a job and do something. Get off your job, get off your behind and actually do something with yourself. Laziness leads to slothfulness. Laziness leads to actually come and think about it. I don't even know if that's true. Yes, laziness leads to slothfulness, but I was thinking about being a glutton. Because in order to be a glutton, one has to constantly eat all the time. And that actually takes effort to do that. That's an interesting one. I guess when it comes to exercise, I guess if you're not exercising, then yes, I guess laziness can lead to being a sluggard. I'm sorry, not a sluggard. To being a glutton. Laziness can lead you to a lot of bad health issues. You know what? That's really a good food of thought there regarding being a glutton. I'm going to revisit that video in the future because I haven't made a glutton video in a while. And I'm definitely going to talk about that. But like I said, you know, you got a lot of people out here that want to be praised for something that happened 20 years ago. You got people out here that want to be treated a certain way because it was something they did 20 years ago, but today they're the laziest things you've ever seen in your life. How many of you guys ever seen the movie, I think it was called, is it Trading Places? Not 100% sure. It's with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. I forget what it was called. Maybe somebody in the live chat can help me with that. I think it was Trading Places, I think. In that movie, Dan Aykroyd was this success working for this brokerage firm or whatever. He was working for this place that worked for Wall Street or whatever. I'll put it to you that way. People that invested or whatever. And he was considered a success. And then they made a bet for like $1 each or whatever. They bet themselves $1 that they can turn him into a poor person and turn any poor person into a success. And that was Eddie Murphy. And Eddie Murphy ended up going from being this poor person to being a successful person, not because somebody just gave him something, because he worked. And Dan Aykroyd got out of that situation that he was in after they put him in that situation because he worked. We Christians have got to start promoting the idea that we people got to start working. There is no excuse unless you are physically handicapped. And let me explain to you what I mean by being physically handicapped. You are in a, as a matter of fact, to tell you the truth, I'm sorry, that's not even an excuse. Go look at, what was that guy that died that was an atheist that sat on that wheelchair out like dirt all the time? What was his name? Hawkins, I think his name was, or whatever. The guy that sat in the wheelchair and had this little thing right here and he spoke that way or whatever. I forgot his name or whatever. But even he worked. Even he worked. You know what I mean? And he made money working. And we, as human beings, need to get off our behinds and work. Laziness does not lead to godliness. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. You know what I mean? If you want people to respect you, you got to show people that you're willing to help yourself. I'm not telling you that God won't help you if you don't help yourself, because I believe that's unbiblical when people say that. But I will tell you this: people, other human beings will respect you when you are attempting to do something for yourself. You gotta be able to work, man. You gotta be able to work. Because if you don't work, you're not gonna be able to make money. If you don't be able to make money, you're not going to be able to pay rent. You're not going to be able to support your children. You're not going to be able to pay for school. You're not going to be able to pay for your utilities. You're not going to be able to buy food if you don't go to work. I see Brother Veckel is in the live chat. Brother Veckel is a married man. Brother Veckel has a family he has to take care of. And I assure you of this, if he wants to take care of his family, he has to go out there and he has to work. If he wants to bring glory to God, he has to go out there and he has to work to provide for his family. If Veckel does not go to work, and if all Veckel does is beg all the time, Veckel's not going to get the respect that he believes that he should have. He's going to feel less than a man or less than a woman or whatever. I'm not saying that he is, but I'm just giving that as a universal example or whatever. People will always respect effort, and people will always respect when you go out there, even if you're only making $1. People will look at that and say, man, at least he's trying. At least she's trying. At least these kids are trying. But if you're not even willing to get out the bloody bed to be able to do something for yourself, nothing is ever going to change. And for the people in the live chat that are saying that I'm venting, I'm not venting. I told you every now and then I would do the Christian Worldview, and I would talk about this on my YouTube channel and talk about the value of our values. I'm sick and tired of hearing about this morality from the atheist worldview and this from the atheist worldview. Okay, that's what you guys believe. This is what we Christians believe. And I believe that God wants men and his women, his daughters and his sons to go out there and actually work and make money to provide for their families. Because what you do is a testimony to what God has given to you. And God has given us health. God has given us time. God has given us skills and abilities. And we have to use those things to provide for our families. You've got to be able to provide for your families. Got to be able to provide for your families. Because when you let another person do it, then it's not your family no more. It's their family. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. The United States government gives out welfare, gives out food stamps, and the United States government gives out Section 8 or whatever. Some of these women, especially in the hood, will be real quick to tell you, my husband's the government. My husband is the one that provides for me. My husband is the Social Security system, and my husband is the Medicare system. My husband is all this free money that they get from the government. The moment you let somebody else provide for your family, you ain't the freaking provider no more. I'm going to say this again. The moment you allow somebody else to provide for your family, you are not the provider no more. I'm going to say this again. The moment you allow somebody to be the provider in your family, you are no longer the so-called head man or provider of your family. That's the job for somebody else. So my brothers and sisters in Christ, I know a lot of you are amening out there that we need to get off our behinds and we have to work for what we have. We have to work to be able to pay our bills. And if you're handicapped and you can't do it, get assistance, but still try to work and do something. Get money by the sweat of your brow. Go out there and try to do some work. Don't allow this system that we've created here in the United States to make you so lazy that you're willing that you don't want to get off your butt to go do something for yourself. Like one of the things that I have to watch myself because it can become sin when you throw it in people's face. I work very hard for the money that I earn. Okay? And I like to see where my money is going. I like to see the fruit of where my money is going. The moment I start giving people money and I don't see where it's going, it becomes a problem with me. It becomes a big problem with me. You know what I mean? So it's like my teenage years when I was going to places like the Urban League of Hudson County, and I was going to places like that, and I would ask for assistance. It's called assistance for a reason, because you're already doing something for yourself, and now you need additional help from these other programs. People will respect you for that, because we all know about how this country doesn't want to give everybody a living wage no more. But I also see a time where there are so many job openings available, it's not even funny. People don't want to make $20 an hour. People don't want to make $30 an hour. What the heck is going on here in the United States where people are so lazy they don't want to work? Anybody who knows me personally knows that I'm not the type that's going to sit on my butt. I'm not like that. The only time you hear about stories about me sitting on my butt is when I have a back spasm and I can't do nothing for like a week or whatever. But other than that, I'm always up doing something, and to my detriment a lot of times. I've been told by people that you guys know here on YouTube that I need to chill out and slow down a little bit. Because as long as there's sunlight, I want to do something. And I've been told that to my face. That I need to chill out. If it was up to me, I would be on my channel still doing the G podcast. But I can't, because I have to work. I have to make money. I have to be able to provide for all the responsibilities that I have. I have to be able to provide for all the responsibilities that I have. Like I said, PSE&G don't want to hear that garbage. My landlord don't want to hear that garbage. Nobody wants to hear that. But I tell you this, though, if you allow another person to provide for you and they start telling you what the rules are going to be, don't get angry, because you're not the one providing. They are. If the government is giving you welfare, you're going to do what the government tells you to do. If the government is giving you Social Security, you are going to do what the government tells you to do. If the government is giving you any form of assistance, and it comes with baggage or whatever, and it comes with conditions, you have to be prepared to listen to those conditions. In the same way that if you're with a man or you're with a woman and they're the ones providing, you're going to have to bow down to those conditions. It's as simple as that. But the beautiful thing is when you start working and you start making your own money, nobody can tell you nothing. Yeah, I know, Paladin. The trick is not to read the live chat. the trick is not to read the live chat. Try to focus on what's being said and not on the trolls. Because even some of the trolls that are watching has to agree with what I'm saying. Okay? A lot of people think I'm talking about certain people on here and whatnot, but I'm talking about this whole world, as far as I'm concerned. Because I'm just sick of looking at it. Let me tell you something else I did as a kid. And some of you might call this child abuse because I was a minor. You know how I ate sometimes? You know how I ate? I had to get a black plastic bag, and you can ask Evangelist Ken. He will tell you this. You can ask, if I ever bring my brother on here so that you guys can meet some of my family members, you can ask them. But they will tell you this. When I was a minor, I had a black plastic bag, and I would stay up from, what time I used to go out there? I would go out there from midnight until 7 in the morning. To 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I think about 7 in the morning. That's when they opened. And I used to collect aluminum cans. And I used to try to get at least enough to be able to get $20. And you want to know why? Because $20 was enough to buy me a little meal for breakfast. It was enough for me to go to school and have lunch for school. And it was enough for me to have some dinner if I needed it. Because I got sick and I got tired of hearing I don't got it. I got sick and I got tired of hearing about it. I am one of those people. I'm only going to ask but so many times before I go out there and go get it myself. And there is no shame in a person who doesn't have anything, who's broke and poor, to go out there and collect cans, to collect money. To get money for yourself. Do you know what the value of copper is today? Give me a break. You know what I mean? And nobody will ever be able to put me down. I'm going to say, listen, I didn't have to go out there and beg. I didn't have to go out there and kiss nobody's behinds to go get money and whatnot. I went out there and I earned it. And I earned it. It's like the ant does when the ant is out there in the summer collecting all his food, putting it in the burrows, and when the winter comes, he has plenty of food for the winter. Whereas a grasshopper who played around and didn't do nothing with his life or whatever, you know what I mean? When winter came, he had nothing to eat. There's a lot of stuff. I went to Fairleigh Dickinson University. For those of you who understand the Hudson County, Bergen County, and the Hudson County, Bergen County. True story. I think I told this story before on the G-Man channel. I'm going to tell this one again, but you haven't heard this in a long time, like 10 years. I had a, what do you call it? I had my finals I had to do, right? I walked because I ain't had no money and I was too, well, actually it's kind of sin because I was too powerful to ask other people there to give me car fare to go home. I only had enough car fare to go to school. I didn't have enough car fare to come home. I didn't have a good relationship with my professors and everything where I can ask them for money. I walked from Fairleigh Dickinson University to Jersey City, New Jersey. Go get a map and go see how much walking that is for a person that's 20. I walked, well, actually, no, I wasn't 20. How old was I when I went there? Let me see something. I was in my 20s. I forgot exactly how old I was. But I walked from Fairleigh Dickinson University to Jersey City, New Jersey. This is before I became a marathon runner or any of that stuff. I walked from Fairleigh Dickinson University to Jersey City, New Jersey, which I believe is about 17 miles, I'm sorry. Because that's in Bergen County. Is that in Bergen County? Yeah, it's in Bergen County, and I have to walk to Hudson County. That was a long, long walk. I don't think it was 17. It might have been a little less than that, because that's a 4-zone bus ride from Jersey City to Fairleigh Dickinson University. All I know, it was a long walk, and my feet was killing me, and I had blisters on my feet by the time I got home. But that's what you got to do when you need to get things done. Nobody wants to hear your whining and your excuses because you couldn't because you ain't have car fare. Because you didn't have car fare. My professor didn't want to hear that garbage. I had to walk. And as far as I know, the internet wasn't around then. So it wasn't like I could go online and do any of this stuff. And if the internet was around, it was probably that American online garbage. You know what I mean? Nothing like it is today, that's for sure. I think it was called America Online, I think. Not American. It was America Online, I think. I think $10 got you like 4 hours on the internet or something like that back then. I think that's the way it was. But my whole point is that if you're going to be a child of God and you're going to be a Christian and you're going to be a follower of Jesus Christ and you're going to be a person that's going to represent Christ and you're going to do it properly, you got to be a person that works. You got to promote working. You got to make people go out. If you're going to be with somebody, you got to tell them they got to go to work. If they're going to be with you, they got to go to work. You got to be able to provide. If you don't, you are in sin, period. And I can assure you of this. Anybody who's associated with me, friends with me, or anything like that has heard this out of my mouth quite a few times. Don't give me this garbage that G-Man don't talk to people about going to work. Oh, yes, the heck I do. And sometimes at the top of my lungs. Y'all don't know me very well. I don't play that. But the bottom line is that God frowns upon laziness. You will not get rewarded. You will not get a reward from laziness. The Bible even talks about looking at the vineyard of a person who works as opposed to looking at the vineyard of a person who's a sluggard. Thorns, weeds, room never clean. None of that stuff is ever done or whatever. Whereas the person who works, the grass is low, there are no weeds, their bushes are trimmed to keep their place the way it needs to be kept. That's what a person who works acts like. That's how they conduct themselves. It's a lifestyle for them. Like I said, Kobe Bryant didn't become Kobe Bryant because Kobe Bryant decided he wanted to eat potato chips and watch other people play basketball. Kobe Bryant became Kobe Bryant because Kobe Bryant got up early in the morning and spent 8 hours a day on his craft. Michael Jordan didn't wake up and just became Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan became Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan got off his behind and did what he had to do. And I'm going to end this video with this. I used to be in network marketing. And I once heard somebody say this, and it's funny because to this very day, I still believe it's true. He said one day he's going to write a book to success. And it's going to be about this thick, and it's only going to have one page on it. It's going to be this thick. It's going to be a bunch of blank pages with only one page on there that has like a little scribble on it. You know what that scribble is going to be? Get up off your butt. Get up off your butt. And I was cracking up then, and I'm cracking up now because it's true. If you want to be a person with a good reputation of paying your bills, providing for your family and everything and whatnot, you gotta be a person that gets off your butt and work. And believe me, there's more lazy people in this community than a lot of people might think. There is absolutely no excuse for people not to have a job today. Now, I don't know if that stuff on the news is true, where they're saying that, oh, I've never seen so many job openings in the history of this world as we're seeing today, and people don't want to go out there and work. You know, mainly because the government was going out there giving people stimulus packages. But the point of the matter is that when somebody gives you money, put some of it away, use the rest of it to take care of your business. The general rule is that if you make $20, before you spend it, make sure you got $20 saved. If not, then don't use the whole $20. Because then tomorrow you're going to be back in the same situation again where you got to beg and ask other people for money again. And the key is to avoid that. And like I said, I'm cut from a different cloth. I don't play that. I'd rather collect cans than to ask somebody more than once for something. I'd rather go out there and get water, and I respect those people when I see them doing it, by the way. People that ride their bikes and they got the water and they got like the window cleaner or whatever, and they go out there and they clean their windows. I'm gonna tell you something about GP, about Gentleman Pioneer. Gentleman Pioneer, back when he was helping me before he became a jerk, wanted me to do some work for him. And the first time we talked about it, I told him how much money I wanted to do it. But he was helping me so much with advice, not financially. Sometimes I think he gave me money for like a Uber or whatever. But I'm talking about like advice on how to deal with this community. And this is the truth. I told him, listen to me, if you want me to do a job for you in construction, I will do it absolutely for free. Now, it never came to that. I never did it because I guess we started bickering or whatever. But I offered that on numerous occasions. I said, dude, I consider you a friend. I will go over there and do it for nothing. I don't have a problem with that because I'm a worker. I'm not one of these people on here trying to get rich quick with this nonsense that I see going on here on the internet and with the stuff that I see going on in society. I believe in work because ain't nobody going to say that oh, I'm the reason why you and I'm the reason why you and I'm the, no. I meant what I said a few years then, and I mean it today. I respect people who work. These wealthy people out there that are rich, that like to oppress people. I'm not down with being like that. I'm trying to help people. I'm not trying to put people down and keep them down. I'm not down with that at all. Because I know what it's like. Because I'm coming there myself. I'm coming from there myself. I can tell you some really interesting stories about my childhood growing up. The very fact that I'm even wearing this, I'm still in awe about that. Some of the clothes that I buy. Because back in the day, please. I got to get my brother on here one day because we could tell you some stories. You just don't know. Y'all just don't know. All right. But I'm going to wrap this up. As Christians, we need to be people who work. We need to fight laziness. We need to not support laziness. And we need to be the kind of people that's going to glorify God with what we do and not what we do, just what we say or whatever. You know what I mean? Giving God lip service all the time and never actually getting off our behinds and doing anything for him. You know? So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you understand where we Christians are coming from, at least a little bit. There's a lot more I could have said regarding the scriptures regarding this particular topic. But because of the audience that I have on here, I decided to do it this way. Any questions that anybody might have, let me know in the comment section. How you doing, Paladin? Just have a good day. You too, man. Vecco, I know you were watching, man. God bless you, bro. And let me see something here. All right, you guys take care. And please, people, pray for me because lately I've been having a short fuse with certain situations. God bless.